Good morning, respected teachers, mentors, guests, proud parents, and beloved students. Welcome to the students' individual presentation for Year 9 Culminating project. Thank you for coming today. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. I am Gea Placentica, and I will be your moderator for this session. After going through the journey of high school for the past 3 years, all the Year 9 students will go through a culminating project. This project also is a medium for students to demonstrate the Cikal competencies that have developed throughout the years. They investigated the needs in the community and then proposed an action plan in order to solve the issue. Today, they will present their journey from the past 6 months in doing this project. But before we begin the individual students' presentation, I'd like to invite Ibu Tari as the head of school of Sekolah Cikal and Ibu Yanti as the school principal of Sekolah Cikal Serpong to be here with us. All right, good morning. Good morning, Ibu Tari and Ibu Yanti.
Good morning, Ms. Gea.
Good morning, Bu Gea, Bu Yanti.
All right, how are you, Ibu?
Good, thank you.
Thankfully, healthy and happy. Hopefully, the same for Ibu Yanti and Ibu Gea also.
Okay, of course, and all the Year 9 students here, Ibu, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, right. So, Ibu, we are very honored and more than happy to have Ibu Tari and Ibu Yanti this morning in the Year 9 CP Talk. And in this session, we'd like to hear more from you about a few things related to the Year 9 Culminating project this year. So the first question goes to Ibu Tari.
Okay.
So Ibu Tari, what is the overall theme of this year's CP and how is the theme connected with the purpose of Culminating project itself?
Okay. Thank you, Ibu Gea. Well, this year's Culminating project focuses on encouraging students to transform their passions into impactful actions. That's exactly the theme, yeah. Transform their passions into impactful actions. Because of that, I'm sure we will all be greeted with a variety of passion projects, ranging from topics surrounding mental health, lifestyle hacks, environmental issues, and many more. The projects must be very interesting because personal passion will be from the deepest of the heart, and that vibe will be contagious to all audience. And how is that theme actually connected to the purpose of the Culminating project program? Well, the students are encouraged to explore their passions and find ways to extrapolate them into projects that will help others. That's the key. That's the highlight. Help others. It is as profound and pure as that. We can connect our passion with helping others because it teaches us compassion, and the act itself will be fulfilling or even entertaining. So Ibu Gea and Ibu Yanti, I can assure you that these students have achieved so many things through the journey to present and prepare their projects, their personal projects.
All right, absolutely. Yeah, so it's based on their passion and then they can help the others through it. All right, thank you for the explanation, Bu Tari. Moving on to Ibu Yanti. So, Ibu, you have witnessed a few CPs before from previous years, of course. So what do you think, what are the strengths of this batch that you can see from both the process of making the project and the project itself, Ibu?
Okay, thank you, Ibu Gea. So if you look at the theme itself, just like Bu Tari said before, that the title, Transforming Passion into Impactful Action. So this is a picture of the strength of CP9 this year. This can be seen from the variety of projects chosen by Year 9 students. And it seemed that it all started with deep thoughts that reflected their passion at such a young age. So some students raised the theme of mental health as in teenager as a form of their empathy, creating an apps that will help many people who will use it, just like Bu Tari said before, helping others. Yeah, food and culinary, as well as healthy lifestyle campaign, and specific hobbies that can be an inspiration. You can see whether they made it for society or for themselves. Either way, by the project, their passion and identity are strongly rooted in each and every one of them. And also in the process, the limitation caused by the pandemic do not make them limited in choosing ideas, conducting research, and processing them. They can adapt to the situation and even find a right way of execution and solution. So I think that's all, Bugea.
Okay, right. So is that they can find out their passion, execute it, and they can also adapt with the situation, regardless to the pandemic situation, they still done their best. And yes, probably as an addition, since I also one of the mentors, and on behalf of the other mentors and the other teacher, I do agree with Bu Yanti that all year 9 students have done their best and will be doing their best in this CP event today and tomorrow, 2 days, and will always do their best, Bu Yanti and Bu Tari.
Yes.
All right, so thank you, Ibu. Unfortunately, our time is very limited and we need to proceed to our main session, which is the individual talk. But before we go on, Bu Tari and Bu Yanti, any remarks and encouragement for all young students? Bu Tari can.
Okay. So for our beloved Year 9 students of Sekolah Cikal Serpong, the journey to truly unravel and understand your passion will be a trial for your strengths and weaknesses. There will be times when it is pleasant, but there will be also time where it's the last thing you want to do. But no worries. If you being consistent, persevere, despite the drawbacks, you will learn more about yourself than ever before after this journey. And also for those who are perfectionists, because I know a lot of you are perfectionist students, when you are starting something new, something you have never done, you have to let yourself perform. Do not quit just because your first attempt isn't up to your perfectionist standards. It's your first attempt after all. Try your best and let the mistakes happen. Lots of lessons will come from it. Yay. Congratulations, Year 9.
Congratulations. Okay, I think Bu Tari have already give all the remarks and encouragement. So
sorry, Bu Yanti. I'm so excited.
It's okay, Bu. So maybe this is the last for me. Congratulations to all Year 9 students. Make it sustainable. You all did amazing job. So congratulations and also congrats and thank you to all mentor, teacher, and proud parents.
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Bu Tari and Bu Yanti. So break like all the students. Ibu Tari and Ibu Yanti, thank you so much once again for being here with us this morning. And with that, the CP Project Talk has officially started. We're moving on to our main session, the individual presentation. So today we have a few students of Year 9 here that will present their culminating project. Each student will have maximum of 10 minutes, and after all the presenters are done, we will open a question and answer sessions for 15 minutes. The audiences are more than welcome to ask questions to the presenters in the Q&A session using the chat room. Full action, aiming to achieve their targeted competencies and dimensions. We see this culminating project as one of the ways to elevate the students' creativity by solving issues that they present in their CP. Well, I think that's enough to briefly explain the concept of the CP this year. And now let's get on to the presentation part. On the first session today, we have here Anandita Maeva or Dita. Hello, Dita. Secondly,
hi, Miss.
Hello. Secondly, we have Dewi Pandu. Hi, Pandu.
Hi, Miss.
Hello. And third, we have Riferio Ethan. Hi, hello, Rio. Hi, hi. Hello, and last we have Safaraz Abdurrahman. Hello, Faraz.
Hello, Miss.
Okay, we have all the presenter here today. And without further ado, so let's give a warm welcome to our very first presenter, Anandita Maeva. Dita, the spotlight is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Gea. Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay, I really hope everyone can see my screen. Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Dita, and before I start my presentation, I would like to tell you a story. Now, every idea, big or small, must have their own origin story, and my story starts here. So this is the island of Sulawesi, and the area that I color with red is Central Sulawesi, well, more or less, and the area that I recolor with green is the city of Palu, which is also my hometown. Now, whenever I mention this fact to people, especially during my elementary times, the first thing that crosses their minds are hammers, since hammers literally means Palu in Bahasa Indonesia. And the second response that usually pops up is, huh, where's that? But these response I get prior to 2018, because during the year 2018, Palu and its surroundings was hit by a massive scaled earthquake that caused severe damage to the city. Now, that day, people lost their lives and family lost their loved ones. Now, the city was getting endless coverage by local and international news outlet, and just like that, Palu was widely known by Indonesians for the city that got hit by one of the worst natural disaster occurrence. But that is what I want to highlight here. Based on my observation, it was like Palu was only known for the city that got hit by an earthquake on 2018, and not for the city with wonderful landscapes, or my personal favorite, the wonderful beaches. But specifically, the delicious traditional food that I adore with all my heart. Now, traditional foods are cultural heritage of many cities in Indonesia as well, but it is often underappreciated. So from this point, I wonder whether there are any more cities that experiences the same issue, and that is how Project Culinary 17 was born. Good morning, everyone. My name is Anandita Maeva, and today I'll be presenting my culminating project, Project Culinary 17, or as I like to call it, PRJK 17. Now, what is my goal? So my initial goal was to promote 17 underappreciated dishes of 17 overlooked cities in Indonesia. But then again, it requires lots and lots of research as well as so much time that us Year 9 students didn't have. Now, my final goal was to promote 17 underappreciated to moderately known Indonesian foods, specifically to teenagers, and of course, from 17 different cities in Indonesia. Now, an impact that I wish to give by creating this project is to inspire teenagers to reconnect with their cultural roots, promote the 17 Indonesian food, and as well as promote the local restaurants that sells the 17 foods. Now, what is my sustainable development goals? So I choose to focus on two goals on the course of my project. So my first goal is goal 11, or the sustainable cities and communities, since one of their targets is to protect the world's cultural and natural heritage. And I choose quality education because one of its targets is to ensure that by 2030, all learners acquire the required knowledge for sustainable development, one of the focus being appreciation for cultural diversity. Now, what is my Cikal dimension and competency focus? So from the 5 stars, I choose empowering member of just, sustainable, and peaceful global society. And as for the competencies, I choose reflective, since I think that I won't be presenting this project right here, right now, if I hadn't reflect on my experience with my hometown that I shared earlier in the presentation. And I choose innovative, since I rarely seen these types of projects specifically in Cikal Serpong, and I really hope there will more projects that mentions Indonesian culture or Indonesian culinary heritage, specifically in years to come. Now, the competency that I developed most during the course of the culminating project is committed. So writing 17 stories in the terms of 2 to 3 months is not an easy thing to do, and it requires a lot of commitment. So my research. So for my research, the first method that I conducted was the quantitative method with the Google Form survey. So I created two surveys, the first one in English and the second one is Bahasa Indonesia, but they mostly contain the same questions. Now, these are the two most important questions that I asked. The first one is, are you familiar with their culture or with the city you're from? So as you can see here, there are two pie charts. So for my English respondents, 23.3% answers no, as in they're not familiar with their culture. And for my Indonesian survey form, 8.7% answers no as well. Now for my second question is, do you think preserving or conserving our cultural heritage is important? And thankfully, most of my respondents already realize how important it is, as you can see here. Now, the second method that I conducted was qualitative with the experts interview. So the first expert that I interviewed is Om Sugilanus. So Om Sugi is a philologist who studies ancient Balinese and Javanese manuscripts, who is also passionate about the Indonesian culture. Now, my second expert was Tua Jane Kuiro Borman, and she and I had a conversation on how to preserve your native cultural heritage while living abroad, since she lived in France since the 1980s. Now, my third expert was Om Ferry Latif. So Om Ferry is a freelance photographer who happens to like to take pictures of Indonesian food as well, which provides lots of and he and I had a conversation on how to decently take pictures of the food that provides a critical information on my secondary product. So here I would also like to clarify why I choose teenagers as my target audience. So from my surveys, I managed to gain 53 responses from 53 people. And 15% of them weren't familiar with our culture and 9% were teenagers. Now, when I asked one of my experts which age group do they likely think to ignore or abandon their culture, and one of the experts answered teenagers. And it's because we are no longer only the citizen of Indonesia, but we are a part of globalization. We are the citizen of the world, and it is totally normal for us to wanting to keep up with what is happening around the world right now, or with the global pop culture maybe, but it is important for us to maintain the balance between the influence we got from the global world and our traditional culture. So my planning phases, I had 5 planning phases, like 5 major phases during the course of this project. The first one is defining the project. The second one is food sortation. The third one is article writing. The fourth one is website design. And the fifth one is finalization and launching. So here are the footages. So during my first phase, I defined what do I need in my website. So I need an interesting interface. And by interesting, I mean engaging colors and easy navigation. So for the food sortation, here, one thing that I want to clarify is the 17 foods doesn't just came up overnight. So there's a sortation process where I sort from 20, 30 foods to 17 based on their restaurant's location and whether the recipe was easy to make at home or not, if the restaurant wasn't available in Jakarta. So the third and fourth phases kind of took place at the same time, the article writing and website designing. So this is the article, this is the document where I wrote all of my 17 articles, and I really need to do both processes at the same time since we don't have that much time to conduct the CP. So I finally launched my project back in the 4th of March. And prior to the website release, I conducted a PRJK17 website test where I sent the form link to several people and asked for their feedbacks. Now, this is the brainstorming idea of my secondary product that I will elaborate later. But as you can see, the keyword here is postcards. Now, this is my final product. So this is the website of PRJK17. It contains, of course, the 17 stories of the 17 foods and more information about PRJK17. As you can see here, it also has the SDG goals correlation, more detailed information about the SDG goals correlation, and the Culinary Bundle. So what is the Culinary Bundle actually? So it is a collection of 17 collectible postcards with pictures, summary of the article, and a QR code that leads directly to the website, and a sticker pack that consists of 20 plus stickers. So it was on sale during the first 5 days of the online website release and was worth 85,000 rupiah. Now, any monetary profits the project received from the Culinary Bundle selling is directly donated to a program of Bisa Makan called Bisa Makan by kitabisa.com that provides free food for those who are in need. And we managed to gather 467,000 rupiah. Now, this is the QR code that links you directly to the website. So please do scan this QR code to see more information on the project. So maybe there are some things that I haven't clarified yet in this presentation, or you may want to see more of the donation. So please do scan this QR code or enter the term bit.ly/prjculinar17. Now, unfortunately, I still have to continue with my presentation, but don't worry if you missed the session, because I will be putting the QR code on the bottom right of the screen. So moving on to the challenges that I faced, the first one is commitment and motivation. Since I've mentioned before, committed is one of the dimensions that I developed during the course of the Culminating project. Since writing 17 stories and in the terms of 2 to 3 months requires a lot of commitment, and it is a major challenge, especially with the demotivation phases. So my motivation kind of comes and goes. And whenever I experience a demotivation phase of working on my articles, I usually tend to redirect my focus towards my secondary product or the Culinary Bundle and create designs for the stickers or create mock-ups for the postcards. So I still direct the energy towards the project. Now, my second challenge was time management and pressure. So I didn't create a tidy and neat timeline during the first phase of the CP, which is totally my fault, because I sort of kind of went along with whatever the school has in store, and it's a major, major mistake because the timeline can change anytime. Now, my second challenge was pressure. External and internal. So from the external, I get pressure from the deadlines of the Culminating project itself and the deadlines of other assignments that we have to do during year 9. And the pressure I sort of create this internal pressure where I demand my project to be perfect, which the thought itself is very unrealistic, unhealthy, and toxic. Now, for my reflection, one thing that I have to say is if somehow I got back in time and I got the chance to choose another theme for my project, I would choose this project over and over again, because although it is very stressful, I gained so many unique experiences and met so many new amazing people and had interesting discussions that I wouldn't trade for anything else. And I really hope that Project Culinary 17 can continue to promote more underappreciated foods of Indonesia. Now, that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for listening to it. And if you do have any questions, please do drop them in the chat box. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dita, for sharing your journey. Please give her a virtual round of applause using chat room. Okay, moving on to the next presenter. Please welcome Dewi Pandu. Pandu, the spotlight is yours.
Hi, Miss. Hi, everyone. Okay. I hope everyone already can see my screen. So it's like a cigarette. It warns you on the package that it could kill you slowly. Same as the climate crisis. People seem to avoid the crisis and acting that everything is okay while it's not. We keep preventing ourselves from the actions. If I destroy myself, if I destroy nature, I destroy myself as well. A wonderful and true quote by Hindu Ibrahim. Good morning, everyone. My name is Pandu, and today I'd like to take you along to my CP journey. So before we jump into my journey, I'd like to explain a little bit about the climate crisis, as it's also my issues in this project. Our Earth has atmosphere. It traps heat inside, and we need it to get some vitamin C for plants to grow, even for our mom to dry the laundry. But some of our activities have overgenerated the greenhouse gas emissions, which makes the atmosphere thicker than we would like it to be. The Earth is getting hotter because there are way too much heat trapped inside the atmosphere. It started to trigger the global warming, and global warming led us to climate change, and now it is a crisis. So that's what I'm focusing on this project, which is the climate crisis. And as it named, Return to Earth, I name my project this way because I believe everything that has been taken from Earth needs to be returned to Earth. These are my goals for this project. My goals are encouraging families and friends to adopt a more sustainable lifestyles and to erase negative stigmas towards it. And these are my Cikal 5 stars competencies. I choose empowering member of just sustainable and peaceful global societies. And inside the competencies, I reflect my project on caring, action-oriented, and impactful leading. Because I try to be care of my audience and user situations. And once I understand the situations, and I can start my actions, which also include impactful leading by creating and hosting an interactive and unique events. Finally, the wait is already over. Let's jump onto my CP journey. The first step that I do was research. I conduct two types of research, which was a primary and secondary research. The primary research was interviewing some experts. These are my experts. There are Asta Bumi, founder and co-founder team, Kak Kaye, Kak Apang, Kak Male, and Kak Valen. And then we have Chani Kalawit. He's a founder of Kalawit Conservation in Sumatra and Borneo. And then the last expert was Miss Rika from Sea Soldier Community Outreach. After the primary research, I wrap all information that I've got from the Google and in interviews on a Google document so that I can reread it every time I needed to. And then after the research phase, the research step is done, I continue to my action planning. I'm taking you back where I was opening a Dropbox at school to collect old denims and to turn them into tote bags. And then I also had some experiment on soap making because soap making is not easy. And then I'm going to later on I'm going to create a workshop, soap making workshop. So yeah, and then I also have meeting with Tree Upcycle team to explain about my event invitations. And then lastly, I work on my tote bags making. And guess what? I have the tote bags here actually. Okay. And then finally, action. This is the best part of the journey. And after a long planning and research, I finally settled with soap making workshops and contest event as my actions, CP actions. The workshop is free, but I'm selling workshop kit for those who doesn't have the ingredients and tools. And 100% of the profit I got, I was donated to Yayasan Konservasi Alam Nusantara. My last event was an online contest where I'm inviting everyone who has experience in doing sustainable actions to post a documentary photos or videos to social media so that we can inspire the world together. But sadly, no one is joining the contest, and I was very disappointed. I believe Miss Putih, Tree Upcycle team, and Bubu Plus team also disappointed. And yeah. These are the challenges that I faced during my CP journey. The first challenge was being responsible for my responsibilities because holding online events brings so much responsibilities to my hands, and especially when the audience have include payment, and I feel like I need to be extra perfect to satisfy the audience. And then expectations and time managing, because I set too high expectations without considering my time limits, and then it roots to burnout because I can't balance my work and rest time due to high expectations, and then I get super tired and I feel so burnt out. And then the last challenge was handling with the emotions. So because I set too high expectations, and when the actions executions wasn't quite gone well, I feel like so upset and break down a little bit. And then those are my how I overcome my challenge. You can pause the video because my time is so limited. I had these are my lesson learned. I had so much fun working on my CP, and probably if you ask my mentor, Miss Puti, she'll tell you that I'm crazy girl and full of excitement every day. So, and I learned that it is very challenging to convince people to start sustainable actions, and then it really takes time to working on my project. So, well, I think this is the end of my presentations. I'd like to say thank you for everyone who involved in my project, mentor, partners, experts, and including all my friends and parents who always support and motivate me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Pandu. Thank you for sharing your journey. So please give Pandu a virtual round of applause using chat room. Okay, wow. It's such an impressive project of Pandu. And previously, we also have heard from Dita, right? And before we go on to the next presenter, okay, we will see the chat box first. Okay. Do we have more? Do we have more here? Okay. I've never seen a girl who is passionate in something like you. All right. So yeah, please, everyone, you can drop any comment on any question to ask after all the presenters have presented. Okay, right. So let's go on, everyone. We have seen from Dita and Pandu, and now, everyone, let's moving on to the next presenter. Please welcome Riferio Ethan. Rio, the spotlight is yours.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rio. I'm from Year 9A, and today I'm going to talk about my CP project called Back to Reality. First of all, why did I choose this project? What issues are there? Simply, I chose this project because of the rising numbers of people addicted to social media during the pandemic. And since the rise of technology, more and more people are getting addicted to social media without even realizing it. What are my goals? My first goal is to raise public awareness about the dangers of social media addiction so more people will start to recognize this as a major problem. My second goal is to assist people in recognizing themselves by allowing them to determine if they are addicted to social media, because if they don't realize it, they will continue to be addicted and start developing problems sooner or later. And as a final goal, I want to provide ways on how to break free from social media addiction. As a result of making my CP project, I developed the Cikal competencies of committed and caring. While working on my project, I procrastinated a lot and had a lot of troubles with time management. So after some time, I realized that I needed to develop some commitment in order to focus on the project, which forced me to practice working and being committed to something. And in terms of caring, working on this project has made me more caring and empathic towards others who are addicted to anything, whether it be chemical addictions or behavioral. And it has also motivated me to want to help others get out of their addictions. To understand more about social media addiction, I had to do some research. The first method of research that I used was surveys. Here on the screen, you can see pictures of some results of the surveys that I conducted. So according to my surveys, I found out that 31.3% of people are unaware of social media, while 68.8% are aware of the problem. And that only 2.7% of people use social media on a daily basis, while only 27.3% use it for 3 to 6 days a week. Even though 69% of people are aware of the problem, the majority of them are still using social media on a daily basis. And to delve deeper into this topic, I asked another question. What do people use social media for? And according to the results of the survey, everyone uses it to catch up with others. 80% of people uses it for entertainment. Half of the people use it for global news and education, and less than 10% of people use it for other purposes. And in order to gain a better understanding of this topic, I did some web surfing and interviews. Project planning. My first step in planning the project was to identify a current issue or problem, which in this case was the rise of social media addiction. The next step was to conduct some research. I did my research through surveys, interviews, and web surfing, and through that, I gathered a lot of information about the issue. The third step was to brainstorm and develop some ideas and solutions. I thought up some ideas for this phase and ultimately decided to create a website and Instagram account to raise awareness about the topic. In the fourth step, I gathered feedback on my product and looked for ways to make it better. And for the final step, I focused on improving the product. For my product, I made a website to become a gateway for people to realize social media addiction. On the website, you'll find that it is filled with information to help people understand more about social media addiction, with explanations of a wide range of topics, including how social media affects the brain, the effects of social media addiction, the science of social media addiction, and more. So here's a sample of images from my CP project. On the left, you can see my website, and on the right, my Instagram account. There's also a QR code on the top right corner of this slide, and I'd appreciate it if you could take a look. Some challenges that I had while doing my CP project were procrastination, failing to manage distractions, and low motivation. Procrastination was the biggest challenge I faced while working on my CP project. I kept on putting off doing some research and working on my website, and as a result, I didn't have a lot of time to improve on my product. Failing to manage distractions, because I easily get distracted by most things, so this always made me get sidetracked from focusing on my project. And finally, I had low motivation to complete the project at times, which made me not want to work on it. For my reflection, I feel like I could have completed my CP sooner, but I procrastinated and became distracted, causing me to finish later, closer to the deadline. And I would have had more time to improve and reflect on what I did well and what I could have improved on and done better if I had finished it sooner. That's all from me. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Rio. Thank you for sharing your journey. Please give him a virtual round of applause using chat room. Moving on to the next presenter. Last but not least, please welcome Safaraz Abdurrahman. Safaraz, the spotlight is yours.
Thank you, Miss. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Faraz, and my CP project, Diagnosis, is an illustrated ebook about mental health and mental illness. This ebook aims to educate people more about it. So my issue is mental illness stigma. Mental illness stigma or mental health stigma is a disapproval where society places shame on people with a mental illness. And this can result in many harmful effects for the people affected with the stigma, such as being provided with less opportunities for work, school, or social activities, and then difficulty finding housing, dealing with bullying and discrimination. All of this leads to low self-esteem and even worse mental health. This is caused by the lack of awareness and the lack of education. The reason I chose this topic is because there is a lot of ignorance and misinformation towards mental health and mental illness that led many people to develop negative attitudes and make false beliefs towards it. Now, my goal regarding this issue is to educate people with my ebook, and the National Alliance on Mental Illness has a list of suggestions on what we can and should do as individuals to help reduce the stigma of mental illness. And the main suggestion is to educate yourself and others about mental health and mental illness so that people will disregard all of the inaccurate beliefs and negative attitudes. And that is what I'm trying to do, educating people about mental health and mental illness to help reduce and destigmatize mental illness stigma. The Cikal competency focus. I want to focus more on the illustrations in my book because this is a new skill that I want to improve. And with that, my competencies focus are intelligent and committed because I need to develop a new skill that I have to apply to my product. And then committed because I need to maintain my commitment writing and illustrating this ebook. And so I think that I have successfully developed the intelligent and commitment competencies. For the research, I use 3 books to gain more understanding and knowledge about mental health, mental illness, and the stigma. The first one is called Mental Health Therapy by Patty Morgan. This book provides me details of mental illness, the causes and treatments. The second one is called Your Mental Health First Aid Kit by Zoe Aston. This taught me about how our mental health became more important in recent times and how necessary it is to learn about it more. And this book also covers about mental illness stigma, which helped me to understand more about it. And the third one, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition by the American Psychiatric Association, is a manual where it lists every mental illness that exists. This helped me with writing the contents of my book, the definitions, the causes, and the treatments. And for the interview, I interviewed Ms. Mita. She is a counselor, and I gained a lot of knowledge in the interview about mental health and mental illness, how it can affect an individual, how it causes it, and how can it be treated. And from the interview, I also learned about how important it is to maintain balance between our psychological, mental, physical, and emotional needs. For the planning, it started on August through September, where I identify what is going to be my issue and my product. And then by October, I began my research with the books and the interview. And then by November until January is when I worked on my product, writing the contents and creating the illustrations for 3 months. So the process is that I worked on the content of the book every day and drawing at least 2 or 3 illustrations every day for 3 months. And then by February, the product is finally done. And by March, my ebook was launched. And then now April is finishing the CP report presentation and exhibition. So this is my CP product. This is a 100-page illustrated ebook. As you can see, these are just some illustrations from the book, and you can also see from the articles from the publishing site. I wrote about several mental illnesses like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, PTSD, eating disorder, and many more. I provide the content with the definitions and the causes and the treatments for each mental illness. And the illustrations here I drew represents and displays the mental illness, with all of it having like a gray and black and white theme. And then beside writing about mental illnesses, I also wrote in the book about mental illness stigma, how mental illness is diagnosed by a professional, how mental health awareness is important, that we need to educate ourselves, and we need to understand that mental illness is not a personal problem because it has an influence on the person's family, friends, school, or job. And that's why it's important for everyone to help raise awareness and doing our best to try to reduce the stigma of mental illness. The reason I want to make an ebook for this is because I just think that educating people with detail and clarity in the form of ebook is the best way to reduce mental illness stigma and to educate people. And the reason there's also illustrations in the ebook is I simply think that it would be boring for the ebook to just have words in it. So I had illustrations in the ebook to make it more interesting for the readers. And then the illustrations, as I mentioned before, represents and displays the mental illness. And it can also provide a more clear vision of what the mental illness is like, or just simply visualizes the content of the ebook. The challenge I faced during creating my CP product is that I had to learn how to illustrate digitally for my ebook. It was a challenge for me because I didn't really have any skills in terms of illustrating. So I had to learn how to illustrate, the methods, the program, and everything, while also writing the contents of the ebook. But in the end, I think that I have overcome this challenge by slowly learning about how to illustrate and then how can I improve my illustrations But yeah, in the end, I feel like I have successfully acquired a new skill for my CP product. My reflection, how do I feel after the project? I feel glad and satisfied that I'm finally done with my CP project. And because I have successfully published my ebook, what would I do differently is that I would make a printed book instead of an ebook. I just think that it would be more interesting for the readers to have the book hands-on for them to read. The reason I couldn't do this because I didn't really plan for it to be a printed book. And by the time the idea came up to me, I just didn't have enough time to make that possible. So yeah, the final product is an illustrated ebook. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.
Okay, thank you, Faraz. Thank you for sharing your journey here. So with that, all the presenters have done presenting their journey. Next up, I'd like to invite audiences to ask questions to the presenters. So let's begin the Q&A session. To all the audiences, please feel free to ask the presenters question and write it in the chat room. Okay, let me check the chat room first here. Okay, so the presenters, you can be here with us. Okay. Right, let's see. So the very first question, that is for everyone, okay? But let's see, we can hear first from Pandu. Yeah? What is your next plan after this project? This is a question from Miss Rika.
Hi, Miss. Okay, so I was planning to make a sustainable guidebook, but it was canceled for my CP actions because due to time limitations that I have and deadlines. So I still want to make the book, in order to continuity of sharing about the sustainability. So probably I'm going to continue the book, and then I'm going to share to all my experts and partners like Upcycle, Asta Bumi, Chani, and Miss Rika, and also Miss Putih and Google Plus too. And then probably I would open, like, if you want the books, you can get it from here, DM me or something like that. And I also provide the online book. So yeah.
All right. Wow, well planned, yeah, Pandu, yeah. All right. Now let's also hear from the other presenters. Can we switch to Faraz probably with the same question? So what
was the question again, Miss?
What is your next plan after this project?
What is my next plan? I don't really have any plan, Miss, but probably I can make other things like something related with illustration, Miss, or something with like mental health or mental illness gitu, Miss. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. Okay. Now to Dita, I guess moving on to Dita, what's your next plan?
I think my next plan is to write more of the underappreciated food stories, since writing is also one of my passions. So I think I would enjoy it very much.
Okay, right. Thank you for sharing. And now let's hear from Rio then.
For me, it's probably same with Faraz. I don't have any plans right now, but the CP, but making the CP project helped me get some skills in creating websites. So I might create more websites in the future.
All right, you got the skill, yeah? Okay, so continuing to the question from Icha here. We have one question from Icha, your friend here. So the question is, again, for everyone, what kind of impact that you want to bring with this project? Anyone would like to start? Okay, I need just to pick one. How about Dita? Can you hear from Dita?
Okay, so I think I mentioned this earlier in my presentation, but an impact that I want to give is to inspire teenagers on getting in touch with their cultural roots. But I also want to provide my audience more culinary references while promoting the local restaurants that sells the 17 foods.
Okay, exactly. That's the main impact, the big impact that Dita would like to bring within her project. How about Rio? What's the impact here?
The impact I wanted to bring was to reduce the people who are addicted to social media. That's basically it.
All right, thank you. And probably to Pandu here.
Basically, I just want to, guide people on and show people that sustainable lifestyles is easy, and then it doesn't have to be expensive, it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be something that is big. It can start from simple thing you do in the morning, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Showing people and then inspire other people. So yeah.
All right, yes, you guys are inspiring with all the project you have done. Very well. And now here, as for Faraz, I'm having the question from Miss Ami here. Hi Faraz, I'm curious, may I know why do you choose monochrome color tone in your ebook? You can just do that.
I honestly don't know how to answer that question, but it's just a personal preference, and I chose the monochrome theme because I just really like it, and I applied it to my ebook because I think it's cool, and I just want to maintain a single theme for all of my illustrations in the book.
Okay, so not only about your passion but also your personal preference, yeah. Okay, thank you for sharing your answer, Faraz, and everyone beforehand. And okay, we still have question. For now, it's from Kinar. Okay, one of your friends again. So if you could go back in time, okay, this is for everyone, eh? If you could go back in time, what is one piece of advice advice that you will give to yourself before starting CP? Okay, now can we start with Rio?
Probably just make sure you have better time management.
Okay, time management, related to time management. Is it the same or anything you'd like to add, Pandu? Sure.
So yeah, pretty much time management, and also sometimes I work so hard that I forgot to rest, and ended up I get so burnt out and then left behind my assignments and stuff like that, and it was like the worst moment of my life because I love productivity, but somehow I'm so tired and I really want to, just have some week off to do my hobbies and passions. So probably just work hard still, but, time managing, balancing the work and rest time. So yeah.
All right. Similar, yeah, with the time management. Work hard, work smart, probably. Okay. How about Faraz? One advice.
Advice is that I should probably learn to illustrate first because it was hard for me when I was doing the CP project because I had to simultaneously draw and write, and I overcame this challenge when I realized I had to stop doing two things simultaneously, and then I stopped writing for a while, but I didn't realize that till sooner. So yeah, I should probably use that for my advice.
Okay, and last but not least, Dita, what about you?
I think for me, it's similar to the others, time management, but for me, it's more to creating a neat timeline because as I mentioned before, I went with whatever the school has in store with the timeline. So I really wish I created more backup plans. And yeah, I think that's what I would like to fix if I could go back in time.
Okay, so all in all, it's all about managing your time, yeah? Dear self, please manage your time along with the solution from Dita. So make the timeline and so on and so forth, yeah, related to time management. Okay, so hope it answer clearly, Kinar. So here we have another question. This is from Miss Putih. Okay, Pandu's mentor. So the question is for everyone. How have your understanding of your topic or issue deepened or developed after this project? So I repeat, how have your understanding of your topic or issue deepened or developed after this project? Okay, anyone voluntarily before I pick? Oh, okay, Pandu, come on.
Okay, so at the first time of my CP, like back then before the year 9 start, I was choosing like literally environmentally topic, but I'm not focusing on climate change. So I was kind of not rooting well to the topic. So and I wasn't quite sure what was a climate crisis was, but along with CP expert interview and then research, and then I also learned from some of you. I developed so much in this topic.
Okay, right. Thank you for sharing, Pandu. What's next, Dita? Dita is smiling there, probably is ready to answer. Come on, Dita.
Okay. I think for me, it was during my interview with one of my experts. So I was sort of pessimistic on Indonesian citizens' understanding and enthusiasm towards preserving their culture. But one of my experts mentioned that they are actually very optimistic and sure that some citizens that lives in the urban area are actually quite passionate about preserving their culture. So I think that really changes my point of view.
Okay, so it's the environment thingy, and here we have from Dita, the culture, more about the food, traditional food. How about Faraz? Let's hear from Faraz.
Well, after my CP project, it has deepened my understanding, of course, by many research and writing. Like now I know in detail for like almost mental illnesses, like the definitions, causes, and treatments. And I also learned a lot about mental health and mental illness.
Okay, now another topic, another thing, another point about mental health. How about Rio here?
Well, at first, before making the product, I was planning on making the product about the issue of substantial addiction. But after doing more research, I found out that social media addiction was a bigger thing right now. And that after doing more research, of course, I gained more understanding on the topic.
Okay, right. So there's a lot that have deepened, that have developed throughout the journey and throughout the making of this project. Thank you for sharing your answer. And moving on to the next question. Okay, get excited. There's more question here. This time is from Karima. Okay, one of your friend again. Here for everyone, I guess. So after the whole process, do you think your final product is effective enough to solve your chosen issue? Okay, so anyone? Or should I pick? How about if we hear from Faraz first?
Well, of course, I couldn't resolve a worldwide issue by just myself. So what I think is effective that I did is that I just improved the situation for those people who aren't educated regarding mental health and mental illness. So yeah, I just hopefully they can understand and have more empathy for those who are affected by this issue with my book.
Okay, amazing. All right. So what's next? Let's hear more from, will it be Pandu?
Okay. Pertanyaan berat ya Kak Karima. Same with Faraz. Of course, I cannot solve the whole climate crisis. Yeah, but I feel pretty much satisfied with my workshop event because there are so many people joining, and then they're like really enthusiastic with the explanation that I have explained, and also the workshop making. So yeah, and I also this also become my method of successful probably. Some of the participant on my workshops said that, oh Pandu, you're so inspiring, dan gue jadi kayak sering senang banget ngeliat instastory lo gitu-gitu Mas. And yeah, pretty much that one.
Okay, yes, that's interesting. Okay, how about Rio?
I personally don't think my product is effective enough to solve this problem entirely, but it will play a part in raising awareness about social media addiction.
Okay, yes. All right. We have our own objective. Yeah, we have the target of how we call it as effective or not. How about Dita? Let's hear from Dita.
I'm pretty satisfied on how my product turns out, especially the website. And although I cannot give the impact to all Indonesian citizens, I saw how it impacted my friends specifically since I created a feedback form. And when I saw the results, some of them said that the project introduced them to new traditional dishes that they did not know before.
Okay, yes. All in all, you guys, the presenters here, need to be proud of yourself, yeah, for the achievement, for the journey that you have made through it. So, okay, very last question. Okay, no worries. So this is special for Faraz from Miss Fitri or Ibu Fitri. So what tools you use for illustration, Faraz? Do you taking course for that?
Oh, well, no, but but a few months before I started on my CP product, I just bought a pen tablet illustrating as a tool for making my illustrations. And I just searched through the internet on how to use it and how to draw. And I also asked my mentor, Bu Azura, how to draw because she is an expert in digital illustration. And then because I'm just getting started on illustrating, I just use a simple program. And so, no, I don't take any courses. Yeah, just learn through the internet.
All right, okay. Another applause for the presenters here. And yeah, thank you for all the questions and feedback. So yeah, that's the very last question. And thank you again for the feedback for the presenters. It is very delightful, very lively session. And we already see all the impactful and powerful projects of all the presenters during the CP presentations today. And okay, let's give another big round of applause and words of encouragement for their achievement. You can put it in the chat box. I'd like to remind you that all the CP talk will continue on another session. Please check the YouTube channel of Sekolah Cikal Official for the other talks. In other words, the Culminating project event doesn't stop today. We hope to see you all again later today. And there will be also an exhibition with all the Year 9 students on Wednesday. So if you still have any question, you can talk with all the presenters there. And it can be streamed on Sekolah Cikal Official YouTube for the CP exhibition. Lastly, I'd like to say thank you one more time to all the audience today, to the mentors, fellow students, proud parents, and also respected guests, of course. Thank you for having me as your host. Good morning and see you.